with you. Bring you on, and we're live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another week and another Darf Talks. This time I'm going to be sitting down with Corbin C0M. He plays for the Vikings. He's a newcomer to the Mountain Dew League, and they've been making a name for themselves. He's certainly been making a name for himself. So how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Can't complain. Had a bit of a week. We had a bit of a run up to this particular show. Normally we do these shows on Discord, but Discord was not cooperating, so now we're on Skype. So if there's any sort of technical issues or audio issues, my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I blame the internet. But ignoring that, diving into the guest we have before us, is a player for the Vikings. His teammates are Sidestep, Wiggy Hybrid, and their coach Munster. And until recently, that roster included a player by the name of Terrorize. We'll get to that in a little bit. But just talking about, you as a player, when did you're a very young player, you're 18, just graduated high school. When did you start playing Counter-Strike?
I started playing Counter-Strike back when it was Virtus Pro who won the major in IEM 2014, I think. Katowice, I believe. Because I remember watching that, I was just watching the major and I was like, bro, this is a cool game. That was back when I was playing COD and stuff on Xbox. I was like, Dad, I need this game. And it was on sale and everything. So I just got it. And then I just started playing a lot, Yeah. It spiraled.
When did you start playing competitive?
I want to say a year and a half ago, about. Yeah.
Okay.
That about.
Okay, so not that long. Relative newcomer to the scene, distinct newcomer to the scene.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty exciting. Already in MDL after playing competitive for a year and a half, playing league play.
Hard work.
How did it start? I mean, did you just pick up an open team with friends and then sort of go from there?
I played on an open team. I don't remember really, but I played with a guy called I actually went to LAN with him called MiceQ. I played with JMO. The team fell apart really fast. It was JMO, I think it was almost. I don't even remember. I don't remember. I don't think it was almost. I think it was someone else. But Twinzel. It was a lot of people that right now JMO and Sameyes or MiceQ are in advanced in MDL, so they're doing pretty well. But Twinzel, I don't know what he's doing anymore.
Okay, but you sort of started at the bottom. You worked your way up. You went through open. You're picked up by different rosters. You ran in different rosters, and then you sort of settled into the Vikings roster. What was it, 3 seasons ago? 4 seasons ago?
4 seasons, yeah, I think. I'm pretty sure it was 4 seasons ago.
So you guys played in Maine. You were sort of one of the mainstays of Maine, if that makes any sense. One of the well thought of Maine teams, top tier of Maine. You made playoffs 3 seasons in a row.
Yep.
Before finally qualifying.
Yeah, and qualifying wasn't it was stressful. It was the most stressful last Inferno match of my life.
Well, what's that feeling like when you finally crest that hill, when you finally qualify, something you've been trying to do for, a year? When you finally go over that rise, what was that feeling?
I don't know. It was just it was kind of just a weight lifted off our shoulders. After we were kind of just laid back, we were just okay, we finally did it. We're in, just relax and let's just have some fun now in playoffs. And we got stomped the next round. Got stomped pretty hard, but we had fun and we accomplished our goal.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was almost it sounds like it was almost more relief than excitement in the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Finally made it. So this core, one of the really interesting things about Vikings, especially in the context of Maine and Mountain Dew League, where we have so much roster churn and turnover and people moving around, is that the core of this roster has been playing together for a long time. I mean, I think Wiggy, Sidestep, and Hybrid and Munster actually have been on the roster since 2016. And you've been playing with them for 4 seasons now. What's it like having that sort of cemented core, that chemistry, that stability in a roster?
It's really good. Whenever I first came on, I was really intimidated because whenever I first came on, I had I was known as like a team hopper. Like I couldn't stay on a team, and like I was just like honestly not looked at as a great player.
Hmm.
So once I finally came on and started playing, it was like nerve-wracking, and like we didn't have a lot of chemistry back then. Obviously, those three had like a ton of chemistry still, but like me coming in, it was really uncomfortable. But as like seasons progressed, it kept getting better and better, and to the point now, like we still have a lot of issues in terms of like our CT side and like flashing for each other and like just having that instant chemistry. But usually, like our chemistry is to the point where we don't even have to like really call things. Like you just know based off of the player's play style that what to do. You know, like play off your teammates basically.
Hmm. And I mean, that advantage, that communication, that chemistry, the silent communication, if you will, that you saying that's something that's come over time. And do you think that's a big advantage for this roster?
I think our overall like chemistry and like flashing for each other and our nade usage could need
Hmm.
work, but the way we like communicate, we know what others are saying. Even though
Hmm.
at times there is some communication breakdown, like that's gonna happen, but like it's just like an advantage to us that we just know how each other play, and like some teams don't have like it takes more than a season for that to happen, like to know exactly what your teammates are going to do and what they're thinking. So like I think we have that advantage to like in that aspect.
And outside of the server as well. I mean, you guys have been playing together for a long time now, and with the amount of time people spend in practice for these kind of things, is there a certain chemistry between you all? Friendships and whatnot.
Yeah, there we definitely like all of us are good friends and that sort of stuff. It's just sometimes when you've been together so long, you definitely have arguments. Like we've definitely had arguments before, but it's like
Hmm.
we're straight up with each other. Like we've been together so long, we're just like straight up. Like if we make a mistake, we literally just tell each other, and we understand like it's not gonna hurt you or hurt the other person's feelings. Just tell them straight up and just be real with them. So we've gotten to that point in our like team that we can just tell each other anything, and it's not gonna offend one another. You know.
Okay. I mean, it sounds, in terms of like, we've been together so long that we're having arguments. It almost seems kind of like a family-esque dynamic. Is there a little bit of
Yeah.
that, maybe?
Yeah, brotherhood, I guess.
Brotherhood, 5 or 6 brothers, all brawling.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Now, what's is there a particular emphasis in the team and in the roster on that stability that you guys have had? Is there sort of a mentality of like, I mean, going through 3 seasons of playoffs and being so close, is there sort of a mentality of like this group can work and we're gonna make it work? Or
We've
what's the
we,
thinking?
yeah, we've always said that we have a high skill gap, and we just need to like use it the right way. And if we get the teamwork together with our skill, like we all know we can frag. Like Wiggy's insane with the op, Hybrid
Mhm.
is insane like in the clutches with the rifle and everything. And Sidestep is just like he's been lights out lately. Just I can't say enough like good things about them. As much as we like bicker with each other, like I can't say enough like good things about them, you know?
Mhm.
And like we know we have a high skill gap. It's just about like putting the right pieces in at the right times and knowing how to react properly to what the other team is doing is what that yeah, that's basically.
Okay. So coming out of Maine, I mean, you guys said you got stomped as soon as you qualified, but you qualified. That's
Yeah.
what matters. How much of, I mean, what was you thinking, right? Approaching a new season in Mountain Dew League, getting ready for that jump in competition. How were you thinking about that in the wake of the season?
I don't know if my teammates were the same, but I was like, I'm just gonna focus and frag out. You know, I gotta do my job, and whatever it takes to win, I'm gonna do my best to like do that. You know,
Hmm.
so I was laser like at the start on the first match, you could tell like all of our nerves were going crazy. I don't know if you were casting it. Someone
I
was
think I
casting
may
it.
have been. I think it was me.
I don't know, but you could tell nerves were high and all that. And after the first half, I was like, Jesus, we just got stomped on the first half. But then after like the nerves were gone, we just played, and then you just saw like how good we are when we just play our game and that sort of stuff. And we almost came back from the 13-2 deficit.
it was kind of a classic, a very classic Vikings game, which I've been casting you guys for a few seasons now, like mostly in playoffs in Maine, and then MDL whenever I've had time. And it's the classic Vikings game as I've seen it is get stomped first half, stage a miracle comeback in the second half when you guys all remember how to play Counter-Strike and annihilate your opponents. And it's either a win or it's a really close loss after that second half comeback.
I don't think we ever get stomped, honestly. I think it's more like we just gotta how long it takes for us to get in the groove.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really is. It does seem like you guys are like, I don't know, it's like a lawnmower that starts up slowly, but then once it gets going, nothing's standing in the way. Mm-hmm. What do you think it is about the team that sort of gives you that approach or that mentality of like, A, being a little bit slow to start, and then B, no matter the situation, being able to come back and keep rolling?
I don't know. Honestly, we just play. we just like our whole like another thing with us being together for 4 seasons. Like we just power through things. Like we've been in like bad situations before. Like we know how it is. We just power through it. Like we just know we can come back from almost anything. We just know.
Okay, that's good confidence to have. So coming into MDL, was there any sort of change in your preparation? I mean, presumably you have a different level of scrims available to you. There's sort of a tier jump there. Do you think that really elevated or changed your preparation, both for you individually and for the team?
I think, yeah, because for me personally, whenever we started scrimming, like I think even Wiggy sent out a tweet saying I've learned more in 4 MDL scrims than I have all of our like main season practice. Because whenever we started playing MDL, like in Maine, everyone was just like really static, or like we would just get easy first kills. But in MDL, like there's obviously that at some times, but you got to react off of what the other team is doing and react off your teammates' comms a lot more. So like we just learned that personally, and I think it improved us a lot. Because before I don't think we really had like a reaction-based game. Like we were really like set on just like defaulting and like just kind of staying static. But ever since we got into MDL, we've reacted a lot better and improved like how we default and how to react to certain things that the other team is doing. So I think that's been like, yeah, it's been a lot of help going into MDL.
Okay. And so then going into MDL, was there sort of I'm sure you had certain expectations going into the season. I mean, getting into these scrims, it's a different level of competition. Has MDL matched up to your expectations so far?
Well, I think a lot of teams, like some of them, like are just kind of like trolling around in scrims and stuff. Like that happens. Like a lot of teams do. I think we've done it once or twice because we're just having a good time and stuff. But like, I think that we should be at a better record than we are right now. I think because we've choked like a couple of losses. Like this season, we've actually had a lot of difficulty with just closing out the game because we were up like 15-11 against Entourage, or also known as Monstars now or something, and against what's their name? You casted it. Clutch Solutions. We were up 13-5.
Yeah.
Our T side is usually super strong on train. Like we would just frag and just it'd be an easy way to just get through the T side. But I don't know, that game we just struggled against like just figuring out what to do and stuff. I don't know. That was a frustrating game to say the least.
So the record at this point is 5-7 on the season. One of those wins is a forfeit loss from Levitate, who don't exist anymore. That's a nice little notch in the win column. Counts. So do you think that, some of this is inexperience? Obviously you're a young player who's been playing competitive by your statement, like a year and a half. And the team is new to Mountain Dew League. You're all new to Mountain Dew League. You had no MDL experience going into this. Do you think that there's an element of that inexperience that's coming to haunt you in sort of those close games or in those games where you have a big lead?
Yeah, I think so. because a lot of in these close games, you have to have really like precise decision making. Like if you're up in these close games and like you're at match point per se, um, if you're hesitant to react and let the other team do what they want, then it's just gonna like go according to plan to them. And if you make a slight mistake of over peaking and like man advantages or something, and you just like you genuinely just thought you had to play, like you just can't do that in MDL. Otherwise, you're gonna get punished most of the time. Even though like it's just over peaking, using your nades properly, and all that stuff about like the experience that we need. Because yeah, that's basically the difference right now. I feel like I don't feel like it's the aim. I think we have the aim. It's just all about getting that full, the full package.
Mm-hmm. The full package. There we
Yeah.
go. So, I mean, you said you think the team is better than its record, right? By your estimation. Do you think that the growth that you're having this season? I mean, this is not a move-up season, so it's not one of the more competitive Mountain Dew League seasons, but it is still the Mountain Dew League, and there are a lot of teams hungry to win. Do you feel like the experience you're gaining here is like? Do you think the team is noticeably improving with every game, with every experience?
Yeah, I think so for sure. You could tell, like, even when we were on the ESA stream, like, twice, you could tell, like, even the casters were impressed with, like, what we were bringing, like, the brand of Counter-Strike we were presenting. Because, like, we stress team play a lot. We don't, like, there isn't a lot of individual things that happen on our team unless it's in, like, a post plan and you just have, like, a huge clutch or something. Or, like, a 1-on-4 and you're just going crazy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think we have a lot like better teamwork than a lot of other teams, but like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know after that.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've grown as a player?
Yeah, for sure. Every MDL scrim, I learn how to react to different things and what the other team is doing. So like I've learned to react as a player and like react off my teammates' comms a lot more instead of just like staying static in my position all the time. Because like I'm traditionally an aggressive player, which could be like a reason I'm performing so well. And like whenever I see an opening, like if I hear like this 3 towards fountain on like overpass to say, and I hear like a smoke and water, then I might take like the initiative and walk out long B because I hear all those comms and I react properly. And just like, that's the only time that I feel like I would make a play in that sort of situation. So I feel like, yeah, it's grown me a lot to the player I am today. And I've also, like, I've told, like, I went to DreamHack Austin and I told Bach, Hayes, like, both notable people. And I've told them, like, I'm doing my best to, like, work on my discipline. And I'm going to do my best because that's what pros look like. They don't look at the stats. They don't look at, like, or they do look at stats, but, like, they look at, like, how you're playing and how many mistakes you're making. So I'm doing my best to, like, make those mistakes smaller and smaller to the point where I'm just, like, super hard to kill and I'm super hard to read. So I feel like I've improved even more, and I think the more and more I improve, the more recognition I'm going to get.
Okay. So the team right now, you're sitting at 15 out of 24, I think, last I checked the rankings. And off the top of my head, it's like bottom 8 relegate, right? Something like that?
Something. Wiki told me it was like bottom 7, bottom 8, or bottom 9. I don't know. He knows more about that than me.
Gotcha. It's always a little confusing. It feels like it shifts every season. But you guys are sort of like right above that relegation tier. Do you think that over the next couple of games, your record's going to improve to the point where you're like firmly middle of the pack, firmly out of that risk?
I think we will. I think we will 100%. As soon as we get our fifth situation like sorted, I think we 100% will like end up. We'll at least get 7 wins, but we're striving for 9 and 7, and just finishing out the season strong.
That is a great segue. Because now I want to talk about Terrorize stepping down. So just for anyone who doesn't know, they're 5th. Terrorize decided to take a step back from the game for personal reasons. and stepped down from the roster. What can you tell us sort of led to this?
One sec. Before I answer the question, Dust2.us, why haven't you reported it yet? I'm upset.
Joe, if you're watching this right now, which there's non-zero odds that he is, actually, Joe, if you're watching this right now, you got to be following that Vikings roster information. That's the key scoop right now.
Okay, but it was more neutral. Like he just had personal stuff happening in real life, and it's understandable. Like he was just having a lot of stress with his work in real life and that sort of stuff. So it was more of a neutral, just stepping down, and yeah.
He was the newest addition to the team, right?
Me and him joined at the same exact time.
Same time? Okay. So did you all kind of know that this was coming? Was there sort of an expectation, a build towards it, or did it catch you by surprise?
It was kind of expected. You could tell like his real life was getting like a hold of him, and it was just like it kind of sucked. You got to feel bad for the guy and that sort of stuff, but it's his decision, and yeah.
Okay. So what's the plan now moving forward for the roster? I mean, presumably you guys are trialing players or working on picking up a fifth. What's the approach to that?
Well, the last, I think, week and a half, we've been trying out a lot of players. I'm not going to disclose who yet, but yeah, we've been trying out a lot. We've been trying out a lot of players, and so I'm assuming like it should. Because we have a match Monday, and
that'd be a good deadline.
It's been a good It's been a lot healthier, I think, for the whole team because it's like new blood, and you're just like, it's a different feeling, and it's just like refreshing.
Does the process change? I mean, obviously, a lot of teams have gone through the process of adding fifths, removing fifths, swapping players out. It's Mountain Dew League. People are swapping rosters all the time. But in a team like the Vikings, where you guys have been together for a while, where you've battled through together for a while, where you've got that chemistry, you've got that tight-knit feeling, is there a different approach to picking up a player to sort of mesh into that atmosphere?
I guess. I mean, we just all been together for so long, and we just pretty much – like we know what each other are doing, but when we're in tryout scrims, like the tryouts have no idea what's happening. They're like, "Wait, what are we doing?" And then we're like, "Oh, we're doing this." And then they're like, "What do you mean?" We just know what we're doing like right off the bat, and then they're like, "Oh, okay." So
does that kind of like, I mean, it presents a different challenge, right? But does it also kind of give you guys a chance for like introspection into the roster and why you're doing things? If you have to explain it to someone new?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just fun, honestly, just watching tryouts and stuff. It's like kind of relaxing that I can just relax and watch and kind of just play CS,
Yeah, absolutely. Also, another question. So because you guys have just moved up from Maine, right? You're in kind of a unique position. Are you looking in your search for players to add, for a fifth to add? Have you been more willing, you think, to look towards lower leagues, or has that shaped your decision?
We've definitely given chances to people from all leagues. We haven't gone to like everybody, but like we've narrowed it down to the people that we thought deserved a chance. So
okay. Are you looking for? Can you give me any information? You guys looking for a player with more experience, or maybe a fresher face?
Cannot disclose.
Okay. Keeping the straight face. All right, I understand that. Okay, so you said you anticipate having a fifth by Sunday, since you got a match on Monday. Makes sense as a deadline. How does that sort of color like the rest of the season for you? How are you thinking about the rest of the season?
I think we're just gonna try to improve with the fifth. Probably, if we can, play qualifiers and that sort of stuff, and just keep improving. But we want to go 9-7. Like we want to like cement ourselves and be like, yo, we're here to play. We're here to contend. Let's play some Counter-Strike,
Yeah, absolutely. Statement matches. So I want to shift the focus a little bit to you as a player and sort of your story. You're a very young player. I mean, I guess not really by the standards of MDL, but you're 18, you just graduated high school, you're relatively inexperienced in competitive CS. What are your sort of life plans and plans right now? Just graduating high school, and how does CS factor into those?
I'm going to college starting like August 18th or August 17th, where I'm
Hmm.
gonna start moving into my apartment with my best friend, actually. So that's gonna be fun. I don't know necessarily with all like it depends on how the season's up. Like I'm one sec.
Hmm.
Um, it
No worries.
depends on how the this season goes and how everything works out and how next season goes because I want to at least try to compete for a pro league
Hmm.
once, but I don't know what's gonna happen after that because college I want to have fun, be social because I'm a really social person. I want to go have fun with everybody, and I don't know. We'll just see how it goes. Yeah.
Okay. So you started one other aspect of this is you started streaming relatively recently. When did you start streaming like
Uh,
consistently?
a month ago, about a
Okay,
month
so
ago.
very recently.
Yeah.
And how's that been going for you?
It's been great, actually. I've accumulated 22 subscribers now,
Dang,
and
put me to shame.
no, it's cool, dude. Um, I've been trying my best in my community to spread positivity, even though not all the time. I'm not always positive, but I strive to be positive to everybody, and
It's an
yeah,
admirable goal.
I'm doing my best to have a positive impact on the CS community instead of like all the toxicity revolved around CS and that sort of stuff. And I'm also trying to provide good content and just all that sort of good stuff.
Okay. And do you think that has that impacted your plans and your thinking about Counter-Strike in the future in any way?
Um, Maybe I because streaming can definitely I've had a lot of people come into my stream saying, "Oh, you have a streamer voice" and that sort of stuff, and like definitely it's an interest that I could probably go into if I put my mind to it, especially with like all the I guess hype around me right now with me just playing well in MDL,
Hmm.
but I I don't know. It all depends on how much my stream grows in the next like month or two and seeing how much I can grow. If it becomes a potential opportunity, I might go take it. I don't know. I'm just trying to provide as much opportunities for myself in the future as as many as I can.
That makes sense. So it sounds like you're really sort of looking at a lot of different avenues, both in life and in Counter-Strike,
Hmm.
and considering where you want to go. And that makes sense. I mean, you're 18. This is a time in your life where a very narrow world is suddenly opening up with a lot of possibilities. And
Yep.
for you, there are a few of them that are CS related that most people don't have access to. And is that something that you're excited about? That possibility or those possibilities?
I'm excited for what comes, man. I'm
Yeah.
super excited for whatever happens. Like, if I don't end up playing CS later in my life, like it's fine. I'm gonna go have fun in college, get my degree, and I'm going to a business degree, by the way. And I'm gonna do my
Fitness.
best. Yeah, I'm gonna do my best to like just keep progressing. And right now, my focus is Counter Strike because I've been
Mhm.
putting a lot of time into it. But as soon as college starts, I don't know. It depends. Depends on if I make a lot of friends and that sort of stuff.
Sure. So thinking about changing gears a little bit about your development as a Counter Strike player, young player, started playing competitive not that long ago. How do you feel your sort of two aspects of your development as an individual player? How do you feel like league play has sort of impacted you and grown you as a player?
Yeah, league play has definitely grown me because I used to be like a really big pugger and I would just like pop flash through smokes, all the like Stewie stuff and that sort of stuff. But as soon as I got to league play, like you got to learn to be disciplined. It took me a
Hmm.
while to like just like learn discipline and just stay focused and like play with your team, that sort of
Hmm.
stuff. And yeah, it was really hard the transition, but now that I'm starting to get the hang of it and like just getting more in the groove of team play and just playing with people and playing off people,
Hmm.
then like I feel like I've grown so much to the point where I'm starting to get recognized a lot more and like people are starting to look at me a lot more and
Okay.
seeing me as like a good option, you know.
Do you think, on the flip side of things, do you think like pug play and like pugs and ESEA, Face It, that kind of thing, has that also impacted you as a player?
Uh, yeah, I guess. Oh my,
What
what
is
is
that on your
happening?
end?
No,
Is that on your end? Is that on
that's
Griffin's end?
producer.
Sorry, folks. Minor technical difficulties. Griffin, producer, please mute your mic. Please.
Oh,
All right. I don't know if you folks can hear that on the stream, but we just got a huge burst of noise. I'm going to assume that that noise is gone now, although now we're just getting some white noise. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. We're just going to keep going and hope that that's not a serious difficulty. So there's sort of an attitude in the scene. There's an attitude, especially in the North American scene, that there's that the way young players come up through the pug scene, through stat hunting and that kind of thing, is actually harmful to developing them as individual players. You've talked a lot about how in league play you've had to learn to be more disciplined and you've had to learn how to minimize your mistakes as a player. Is that pug mentality something you've had to overcome? And do you think it's harmful to young players in the scene?
I think it really is because I see like in FPL all the time, like obviously FPL, like most pros are having fun, but like it could be like a vital thing to work on your discipline and that sort of stuff. Like it's so good to like just work on your mistakes like every single day. And in pugs, like you can have fun like all the time. But like if you work on your mistakes and do things that you'll do in game, you'll just keep getting better and better to where you're not gonna have a mistake, you know? So I feel like if people in FPO like Som, Obo, Crashies, Food, like all those like insane, like they're insane individually. I'm not gonna say they're not, but if they start working on that, I guarantee they get picked up by even bigger teams because that's what pros are like looking at. Like I remember an interview with Simphus, or like he posted it to his YouTube or something. He posted a video like he doesn't want young players just because their discipline is like just awful, you know? Like they don't have the proper tools to be a good CS player. So like I don't see why people don't just learn to be disciplined in FPL.
Focus on that. Absolutely. So looking a little bit to the future, we're coming towards the close of our time here, but looking towards the future, we've talked about how you anticipate the rest of the season going, hoping for that 9-7, close it out with some statement games. How are you looking towards next season, both individually and as a team?
I think next season we're definitely going for playoffs. Like I think we 100% can just destroy and get into playoffs. And I think honestly, it depends on how other teams are preparing for next season. But I think if we keep moving forward and keep improving, I think we can compete like at the top with like Dignitas, Swole Patrol. Like we could just literally like beat them in best of threes as long as we just like play together and have the same work ethic the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're an incredibly promising player. Vikings, for their first season in MDL, it's been an incredibly promising season. I can only see more success here in the future, and it's something that's really exciting. So thank you so much for joining us. For anyone in the stream right now, if you want to follow this wonderful player right here, his Twitter @ is in his little box, but it's also @Lee, which is L33CSGO. So give him a follow. Check out his stream. A player with a lot of promise and a lot of avenues in the future. So again, thank you so much for joining us. And for anyone here who's been watching, thanks so much for joining us here on Darf Talks. That's going to be it from us today. If you want to stick around, Double Tap, which is Nerd Street Gamers' FGC podcast, is going to be starting up in just a few minutes. But so stick around and check that out. And or give us a follow. I'm on Darf Mike. Give the channel a follow. I'll be back next week, both on Monday for Drop Room and next Thursday at 8 p.m. where I'll be back for another Darf Talks where I'll be interviewing somebody else.